All right, whenever you're using this machine crust, you kind of got to put, and you're going to roll it, you got to put some flour down so it won't stick. Now, although I got a good bit of gluten built into this crust, and the gluten holds all the water, so it's not sticky, we still got to get something. I got to get something on the rolling pin here. So we don't have it stick. So this crust has had 10 minutes on a mixer, on a KitchenAid Pro, and then it's had 6 hours to rise. Half teaspoon of yeast. And get it started with your bowl scraper, and you just got to turn it upside down. It'll release. Look at that. Everything's out the bowl. Nice and clean. You got to put some flour on top, because we need this one to roll out a little bit. It's got a little oil on it, so. You can see the air. You can see the gluten structure. It's pulling back. So you got to take your time when you're rolling these. They don't just roll out like pie dough. You just pull from the center, pull out, try to get it round. I got to put a little, more flour on top there. It's a light dust, not a lot. We got to get her work towards a round. Get it up on there, you know. So you see how it wants to move? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So we'll put a little oil down on our iron, a little olive oil. We're going to put a little cornmeal down after we get to spread the olive oil out. All right. Get a little cornmeal here. You just want to lightly dust it. A little more on this edge. All right. Pull this back a little bit so we don't make a mess. Slide it down on here. We're going to pull her out to fit. You can see the gluten in this allows the pulling on them. You can really stretch it. So I want to go past, I'm going to roll the crust back up into the pan. So, all right, we're going to go past. If you don't do 10 minutes on a mixer, you can't stretch it like this. All right, now on this particular pizza, this is a barbecue burnt ends. So our pizza sauce is going to be barbecue sauce. So just spread your sauce thin. You don't need a lot of sauce. We'll put a little bit on top, but that's all you need right there.
And there's nothing special about that sauce. It's just,
No,
it's barbecue sauce.
It's just barbecue sauce. All right, now next step, on the brisket burnt ends pizza, we're gonna use 3 cheeses. We're gonna use mozzarella cheese, a grated Italian cheese, and what makes it extra good is some cheddar cheese. I usually go down with the cheddar cheese first. Just kind of, since you're doing 3 cheeses, you got to watch that you don't overload it, you know. But this cheddar makes a really nice complement to the brisket burn-in sausage. So now we're going to do the Italian cheese. It's an Italian blend. Gives it a nice aged cheese flavor. That's that one. And lastly, the workhorse, shredded mozzarella. All right, so we're gonna roll the crust back over so we get a nice rise on the edge. You wanna go past your edge so you can roll this back. These large cast iron for homemade pizzas, these large cast iron pans are the bomb. All right, so we got our crust rolled back in. Helps keep the juices. Now our brisket burn-in sausage. This is a product made in Texas. Walmart sells it. It's a wonderful sausage for making pizzas. Doesn't have a whole lot of fat that is going to weigh your pizza down. So anyway, so you can see I kind of decoratively place the sausage. But you want your pizza to look good to whoever's you're feeding, you know. So. Just take your time. Get you a good shot of sausage on there. I try to put quite a bit of meat. you know, it's just something that, trying to find a little piece, get in here on that point. Something that makes a difference. All right, so now that we got our work surface kind of cleaned off, we can finish dressing this pizza up. Purple onions does real well with it, but you put what you want on. You don't want to get carried away with your toppings when you roll your crust, because you can have just too much stuff on there, and the water coming out of the vegetables will soggy your crust, you know. So just a little bit of salad, put a little bit of salad onions. And then you want canned mushrooms. I've already drained these, but fresh mushrooms tends to, again, puts too much water. You want to drain them good. I had them draining in the colander for about 30 minutes. Put them back in the can just to make it easy to make the pizza. So you don't want to put a lot. For this particular pizza, the last little bit of shredded cheddar on top. And she's ready to go in the oven. All right. And we're gonna go 450 degrees for about 18 minutes. All right, that's us for now. All right, now this is a finger stretch pizza, handmade crust, not a machine-made crust that we let rise for an hour. If you make a handmade crust, you gotta allow your yeast a chance to work. So the Bertolli basil, creamy basil Alfredo is the best Alfredo sauce I find for making seafood pizzas, whether it's crawfish or shrimp. So you can just pour it out like I've got here, spread it out. These pizza spoons, these sauce spoons for pizza, is really, really easier to spread your sauce thin than anything else I've found.
Flat bottom.
That flat bottom works. Now I'm gonna start out getting it close to the edge, but when I do these crawfish pizzas, I kind of bring it all the way in. So I load it up. It's a different pizza. It's a real flavorful pizza. It's salad sauce, bringing it all the way to the edge. No leaving, the whole pizza, this whole crust will rise. Now straight from the sauce to the crawfish. Now one thing about the crawfish, you want to drop them on with your hands. You don't want to, once you get your crust rose like this, you don't want to push down on it in any way, shape, or form, because we want it to come up. This is a really juicy pizza, so it has to have a robust crust to hold it up. Here we're using a pre-cooked processed crawfish. I found that they have more water out of them, and it makes for a better pizza crust, overall crawfish pizza. Get my hands off the side there. Now it looks kind of sparse, but I'm going to keep piling crawfish on it. This thing's almost like a crawfish pie when I'm done with it. All right, so we're kind of getting to the point now. We don't have a whole lot of bare sauce showing. I'm gonna have to shut down the crawfish adding and move on to the next step. All right, next step along this line here is we're gonna give a little Tony's Chachere's seasoning shake, right? Can't have seafood without a little Tony's. All right, now we'll come in with our cheese. We're going to use an Italian style, lightly grate, and then a mozzarella. You don't need a whole lot of cheese. Try to get it all the way out to the edge on the seafood pieces. Now this is going to make a real robust crust, so this is something where we want a lot of cheese. And with some mozzarella. A little bit too much there. All right. So the last thing we're going to do, mushrooms do not work with the seafood pizza, but the purple onions work fantastic. So we're going to put a little bit of purple onions. give us an aromatic. Now this pizza, generally it's a little bit thicker crust, takes about 20, sometimes 22 minutes. That's it. All right, now we're ready to go. Right into the oven, 450 degrees, down on the bottom rack for about 22 minutes. All right, so last pizza today is the traditional pepperoni. We're going to stretch right on the pan, and we're going to use the finger stretch method. So I'm going to oil the pan, spread the oil around. You know, you don't want so much oil, because what can happen, the pizza rises so much the oil will actually bubble out and land on your oven, start making, you know, burnt oil smell. A little bit of cornmeal again. We're just gonna dust it. This is the ball bearings for me to stretch that crust and not have it stick, because you're gonna see this crust here is ready to go. The nice thing about a finger stretch crust, it'll come out the top. We got a roll on this. See how far it's coming?
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna let him come out. The gluten structure in that is from the machine, lets it come out like that and stay in one piece. So you just get a little bit of oil on your hands, start in the middle, push out. You don't want to mash all your bubbles down. A lot of times you get a crust with this much gluten development, it won't want to stretch completely. It's okay. You just wait about 50, stretch it where it'll go willingly, and give it about 15 minutes and let it relax, and it'll come on and stretch the rest of the way for you. But all I'm doing is using my fingertips to push the crust out. If you find it trying to stick to you, just get a little more oil on your hands, but it doesn't take much. Right now I'm moving the crust from the center to the edge. Center to the edge. So we get a nice poof on the edge. Center to the edge. Center to the edge.
Yeah, look.
All right, so now I'm stretching the very edge, because I want us to have a nice rise on the edge. Now fingertip stretch, that's it. All right, time for the sauce. This is my special secret sauce that I make. It's a fresh sauce. It's not cooked. It gives a really bright flavor to the crust, to the pizza overall. And you don't need a lot of sauce. You just, see, I got about 2 spoons and I'm spreading it around. That's it, just 2 spoons. If you got a crust that has a sauce that has less water in it, you might run a little more, but this is about it right here. I can't help it, I gotta straighten them little puddles out. All right. So next thing is Italian cheese. You can be a little more liberal with this one. This is going to be a pepperoni that I use sandwich pepperoni. I have sliced in the deli, the big slices. I don't use the little, you don't want to use the store-bought pepperoni for making pizzas. It doesn't make a good pizza. And we'll get a little more here on this side. Now, on the Italian pizzas, if it's Italian sausage or pepperoni, something like that, I put a lot of cheese, a lot of Italian cheese compared to the mozzarella. But on your pepperonis, you want to cheese them first. Get down on this edge good. Just a little more, and we're done. All right, so now we're gonna finish our pepperoni pizza up. Back with some salad onions. The purple onions really work well with this. You know, and you can pre-slice your stuff. And what I do is I make 2 crusts at a time, so that we have the onions and stuff sliced up. And keep it in the refrigerator. I have crust in the refrigerator. I can have us with hot pizza in 30 minutes. But little purple onion. This pizza has a lot of flavor. You can have a little bit more aromatic. Actually, we got a bald spot right there. All right, next thing is the mushrooms. I pre-drain these mushrooms with a colander. Put your vegetables down first and follow with these big old rings of pepperoni last. Because the pepperoni pops open, it makes like a dish as it cooks. It helps to hold all this stuff in place. Last thing's the pepperoni. All right, so I have this pepperoni slice in the deli. All right, this is prima deli sandwich pepperoni, and it's set to 1.5 on the slicer. So it gets you really big slices. The most important thing is this pepperoni is really flavorful. Not like the little dried stuff that they sell in a bag for somebody gonna make a pizza at home. So I try to get them pretty tight, put lots of pepperoni on it. I should be able to get one more in here. And then 3 up here. I've been doing this. This is our staple lunch. And she's done. All right, so we just got our last pizza to go in the oven, 450 degrees. This usually takes about 18 minutes. And it makes a really pretty pizza when it's out.